What I appreciate about Reform is that they are the only party willing to call out Keir Starmer and the Labour government. They consistently hold the government accountable during interviews and at Prime Minister's questions. In today's video, we'll examine Farage's recent comments, as well as the latest news from around the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for British political content. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has accused the Labour Party of direct election interference after reports revealed nearly 100 staff members are heading to the US to support Kamala Harris's campaign. He warned that if Donald Trump wins the presidential election, it could harm the UK's relationship with the US. On X, Farage stated, "This is direct election interference by the governing Labour Party, and particularly foolish if Trump wins. Who is funding this?" Labour's head of operations announced that current and former party staff would spend 2.5 weeks campaigning in crucial states like North Carolina, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Virginia ahead of the November 5th election. They are responsible for their own travel costs, but Democratic volunteers will provide accommodation. Staff must also take annual leave for their trips. An email sent to them in August encouraged participation, saying, "Let's show those Yanks how to win elections." This initiative has outraged Republicans, who argue it could damage UK-US relations if Trump wins. Sebastian Gorka, a former Trump aide, called it a bloody outrage, stating it's a blatant interference in American politics. Senator Tom Cotton said it's yet another reason to vote for President Trump, while former Prime Minister Liz Truss remarked that President Trump is definitely going to win now. The Federal Election Commission stipulates that foreign volunteers cannot donate to campaigns or participate in decision-making, but they can engage as uncompensated volunteers. In other news, Health Secretary Wes Streeting has been grilled over the NHS's performance after outcomes were found to have worsened, despite spending on Britain's health service rising. Pointing out that surgeons performed fewer operations between 2019 and 2023, political editor Christopher Hope questioned why spending rose by 2.8% annually between 2015-16 and 2022-23. "Why is it we take more money into this leaky bucket and it's not getting any better?" Hope asked. "That is exactly the right question," Streeting responded, admitting that while more money and staff had been added, reform was lacking. Streeting emphasized the need for investment plus reform to deliver results, citing the previous Labour government's success in achieving the shortest waiting times and highest patient satisfaction, and highlighting the current government's focus on capital and technology investments to enhance system efficiency. "Even when we're doing things like 40,000 more appointments every week, that will also be achieved through reformed ways of working," Streeting said. However, Hope pointed to Gordon Brown's 7% real terms increase in NHS spending in 2001, suggesting the money primarily benefited staff rather than improving outcomes for taxpayers. Streeting responded, "Well, hang on a second. I mean, as I said, the last Labour government did deliver the shortest waiting times and the highest patient satisfaction. We've been in for 3 months. In that time, we've ended the junior doctors' strikes. We've introduced a ban on junk food, targeted kids. We've employed 1,000 more GPS onto the NHS front line. In the coming days, we'll be sending cracking teams of clinicians into hospitals, not just with high waiting lists, but high numbers of people off work, off sick. Also, just last week at the International Investment Summit, where we agreed £63 billion worth of deals with the private sector. Some of that money was also earmarked for life sciences and groundbreaking treatments to tackle obesity. I'm not pretending we've fixed it all in a few months. Of course, we're not going to do that, and I can't fix 14 problems in one, but 14 years of problems in one budget. But we have hit the ground running. We're getting on with the job, and of course, the best is yet to come." Streeting attributed this partly to staff lacking proper tools and technology, but went on to emphasize the need to get the basics right in NHS operations. If someone can't get a GP appointment that costs £40, for example, they can end up in A&E, which costs £400, Streeting explained. Drawing attention to support from unexpected quarters, including the Liberal Democrats and Nigel Farage's Reform Party, Streeting highlighted the need for a new national consensus on NHS reform. "I think we are building a new national consensus here, and I think that can only be a good thing," Streeting said. "I'm focused relentlessly on reform and making sure the NHS works more efficiently, more effectively," he added. This approach, Streeting argued, would benefit both patients and taxpayers by providing more convenient care and better value for money. Lastly, Labour Health Secretary Wes Streeting has refused to divulge details about the upcoming autumn budget, telling the media he values his kneecaps. In an interview on the Camilla Tominey show hosted by Christopher Hope, Streeting admitted he was unaware of Chancellor Rachel Reeves's decisions on tax matters, as she keeps such information closely guarded until near the budget announcement. Streeting said, "I genuinely don't know what decisions the Chancellor has made or is making about tax, because she doesn't share those until much closer to the budget. And I'm not going to speculate because I value my kneecaps, and the Chancellor won't tolerate me going around speculating about her budget. We were very clear in our manifesto, no increases in income tax, national insurance or VAT on working people," he stated, "and we will keep those promises." Discussing Labour's cautious approach to campaign pledges, he explained, "We were deliberately cautious because we knew that the public finances were in a state. In fact, they're even worse than we expected." Streeting assured voters that Labour would honour their manifesto commitments. "We wanted to make sure that the promises we made were promises we could keep and the country can afford. And despite the challenges we've walked into, I can tell you we will honour every single one of those manifesto commitments." Despite his reluctance to speculate on budget details, Streeting gave a strong indication that income tax thresholds might be frozen. This potential freeze could extend the current freeze until 2030, 2 years beyond the previous Conservative government's plan. Such a move would result in more people being pushed into higher tax brackets as their wages increase with inflation. Streeting acknowledged the difficult decisions ahead, stating, "The Chancellor and the whole government are going to have to make difficult and big choices in this budget to stabilise and fix the foundations of our country so we can build a better future." However, the Health Secretary did not rule out potential changes to employer national insurance contributions. When questioned about this, he said, "I don't know if that's going to be in the budget, but we did not rule out that or a number of other things." He told Sky News, "We can't fix 14 years in one budget." So this is a process of priorities, choices and trade-offs. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British political content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.